Hi, I'm Tim Pennington, editor of Products Finishing Magazine. I'm here with Michael Gukas with Gardner Intelligence. He's the chief economist and director of analytics. He also writes a column for Products Finishing readers each month. And Michael, the November finishing index was 45.7. Put that in context for our readers of what exactly that means and what other trends you're seeing with that.
Right. So when you look at the business index, we have to put all of our numbers relative to the 50 line. That 50 line represents no change. And so if your number is above 50, it represents expanding business activity, growing business activity in the finishing industry. If the number is below 50, what that tells us is that you're seeing contracting business activity. And then the distance that you are either above or below that 50 line represents the magnitude or essentially the rate of change in a sense. And so what we've seen over the last several months is an accelerating contraction in business activity, but that's measured at the most aggregated level, looking at all regions of the U.S., all end markets served. There are silver linings out there. There are industries that are still growing. There are still regions of the country that are still expanding. What it means is that a lot of finishers simply need to be more tactile maybe in how they think about where they're going to focus their sales efforts.
So we have shops that have several hundred, we have shops that have 30 people. Are you seeing this contraction at all those levels, or are they being focused on certain sizes of shops?
And so we've seen a slowdown in business activity among all size categories. We've seen in the last 18 months or so that the smaller shops slowed down faster. The larger shops, 100 employees and over, they continued to experience expanding economic conditions later into 2019 than those smaller firms. But at this point, everybody is generally reporting that conditions are just about flat. So everyone's reporting by size right around 50.
I know one of the questions that you ask readers is about backlogs. Tell us about what those numbers are looking at.
And so the backlog helps us to understand the balance between production and new orders. With our index, we can see our new orders and production either expanding or contracting. And of course, they don't have to do that at the same rate. And what happens is that difference between production volumes, of course, and new orders volumes is going to flesh itself out in the backlog. In the last couple of months, we have seen finishers try to, elevate production levels and level set for all sorts of good business reasons. But what we've seen at the same time is new orders are contracting a little bit faster than the production levels are coming down. And so we've seen backlog really pull down the index over the last several months.
So Michael, what industries are doing well during these periods and what seem to be struggling?
So that's a great question. Again, this is a testament to the fact that even though the finishing index is below 50 right now overall, there are certainly some pockets of growth by end markets served. So two of the end markets that are growing very well right now are aerospace and medical. Aerospace did exceedingly well in 2018, was growing exceedingly fast. We've seen that slow down a little bit, but it's still growing at a very healthy clip, I believe. Secondly is medical. Medical has been accelerating its expansionary growth since the first half of 2018. And that's been a really interesting story because, looking at the data through November of this year, the medical industry for finishers is growing faster now than it has at any time since really the first half of 2018. So that's very interesting, something that a lot of people may not be aware of. Conversely, our automotive end market data, according to finishers, has shown that we have moved into contractionary business activity in that end market. That is a development that has occurred over the last 3 months. The contraction rate during the last couple of months has been pretty minimal, though. We're just below 50 in that area. So again, it's just a testament to the fact that not every end market experiences business cycles in the same way, and certainly not at the same time.
Geographically, let's take a look at the U.S. What regions are doing well in this time period? Which do you see are struggling as well?
So the southeast region of the United States is by far growing faster than the other ones. Some of our other regions are either contracting or right around that 50 mark of no change. But we have seen growing activity in the southeast region of the U.S.
Mm-hmm. So the index is comprised of 6 components. Does your data track anything else?
Right, so the 6 components are averaged to create our total index. And again, those components are new orders, production, backlog, employment, supplier deliveries, and exports. We also track 3 other components. Those are prices received, which is a proxy for a finisher's ability to push through price increases. We look at input cost, which is our proxy for understanding your costs of production. And then lastly, we also have a business sentiment index that we look at as well. And what we've seen in the last 18 months is that firms did a really good job of being able to push through price increases if they were asking for them. But of course, we also saw that their material prices also inflated quite a bit. And of course, during the last 18 months, when we had the longest economic expansion in manufacturing history, as far back as at least our index goes, we saw that business optimism, business sentiment, that is, hit all-time highs. In the last 9 months, really in this calendar year-to-date period, we've seen all of those measures fall a bit. None of them have contracted, and we're really more or less back to the level that we saw before this latest expansion.
Thank you, Michael, for that great information. Again, you can read Michael's column each month in Products Finishing Magazine. You can go to pfonline.com and read some of his columns from previous months. And also, if you wanted to read more often with Michael, you can connect with him on LinkedIn and also the Gardner Intelligence LinkedIn account, correct?
That's right, and we're also on Facebook.
On Facebook. Great. I'm Tim Pennington with Products Finishing Magazine. Thanks for watching.